discouraging to see that Section 51 is invoked to push through these two bills, but it is what it is. Mr. Speaker, sir, the establishment of specialized courts, yes, I agree, it's not new. But I'm just wondering whether the lawyers in this House, there's only two of us that actually practice, myself, the Honorable Noe Kula. We are the practicing practitioners in this House. The employment magistrates, in the employment court, you have the judicial officers that preside over those cases, and they also preside over other cases. Likewise as well for the family court. So if we're going to talk about specialized courts, make sure that whoever you appoint, stick solely to that, because right now, the system that you have in place with the specialized courts, they are doing both. And I tell you, I take my hats off to our judicial officers. They are overworked. Case in point, the Sinu Court, the biggest municipality in Fiji. The two judicial officers are rotating over one court to preside over matters. So we already have existing issues, and then we're bringing in this anti-corruption division. I'm all for it, but we have to look at the priority. It is relevant, but the priority. Now, I heard well, not learned friend, the Honorable Koya talk about best international practices. And there's been mention about 17 jurisdictions. Yes, what is wrong with Afghanistan is one of them. Now, what is wrong with Afghanistan? The pressure came from the US and the UK, who are financial donors to that country, to put in place an anti-corruption specialized court, because the money that was going into that country was misappropriated by that government. Now, is corruption in our country that high that we now need to establish a court? If it is, I'm all for it. But remember, the increase has come during the tenure of this government since 2006 till now. We were told, the coup happened to get rid of corruption in 2006. I remember, because it came on the news. So now we're establishing these courts. Now, there was also mention of the integrity, the integrity of the courts. Indonesia is also one of the 17 countries that have established a specialized anti-corruption court. Now, what happened was this. The judges that were on those courts, they were indicted for corruption. So what integrity are we talking about? We're all humans here. You need to look at this bill carefully, take it back. It used to be discussed, it used to be threshed out. Who's going to fund it? Who's going to fund this bill? We already have existing challenges in the legal system. There are cases that are coming out. I'm appearing before a court. A hearing date was vacated on a Saturday because the CR said no sittings on Saturday. And that's fair enough. Now, we're getting dates in November for mentions to set hearings for next year. We already have existing issues with the non-specialized courts. Okay? Now, there's also the mention, Mr. Speaker, sir, of the lay assessors. The practice has always been, since for almost 120 years in Fiji, that we have lay assessors that participate in criminal trials. And their participation, Mr. Speaker, sir, is very important. In fact, I quote, Mr. Speaker, from the DPP, Mr. Christopher Pride's address at the Aegis conference held on December 2017, page 8, and I quote, undoubtedly, indictable offences should be decided with a jury or with assessors and a judge. I have not discussed the advantages of the judge alone trial because, in my opinion, the advantages of the judge alone or assessor system outweigh arguments for judges alone, even in complex fraud trials. That, Mr. Speaker, is from the DPP of this nation.
Order.
I'm now talking about the next bill. I apologize. I'm going to move on to the next bill. Now, we need, Mr. Speaker, I'll now talk about the next bill. We need the presence, Mr. Speaker, of the public assessors in these criminal trials. Number one, it keeps checks and balances in place. I'll talk now about the next bill. Yes, I apologize. I'll now address on the next bill, Mr. Speaker. The presence, Mr. Speaker, of the assessors keep the judges at bay. Oh, I apologize. I withdraw my statement on that, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, if there is a specialized court that we need now in Fiji, it's the Sexual Offences Court. The reason is this. I commend what the DPP has put up. They put up monthly and a yearly summary of their cases. Now, in 2020 alone, there were 246 people that were charged with a total of 531 counts of serious sexual offences. 373 charges alone were for rape, 20 attempted rape, 99 on sexual assault. If there is a specialized court that we need, Mr. Speaker, sir, and I'm sure we can all agree, because this is happening in our society, it's a sexual offences court. This is something it's repulsive to our nation. It's repulsive to our society, Mr. Speaker. Now, I've also gone to I've also checked up the FICAC annual report. And I cannot, unless the only report that I saw, the annual report, Mr. Speaker, was for the financial year from 1st of August 2017 and 31st of July 2018. I could not find other annual reports, but the stats that they gave, the stats that that was published, does not warrant an anti-corruption specialized court. The number of cases that are being reported, the number of cases that are being charged, the numbers of convictions, acquittals, and nollie does not add up or support the notion of an anti-corruption court. Sexual offences, yes. Drugs, yes. But not this one, Mr. Speaker, sir. Now, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.